Greetings. Welcome back to the Spirit Walker channel. So this on your screen right there is Miles Johnston from the Basis Project, and I need to thank him for the work that he has been doing. You may not agree with what he says every time. You may not agree with his methods, etc. But the truth is that he's doing a fantastic work for the truther community. So I'm going to use footage from the Basis project on this video now. So this is why I need to thank Miles right there on the left for the work that he has done and bringing us the example. So what I'm going to do on this video today is to show you three examples of the negative path gone wrong. The negative path gone wrong. So we all think that the negative path is all fun and games, and you can go and make your deal with the devil and earn lots of money. And we all have the stories of the artists and Lady Gaga and a whole range of other artists that made deals with demonic entities in order to become famous, in order to become powerful, etc. And they did become very famous and powerful and millionaires, etc. But the suffering that comes from the negative path, from doing a deal with negative entities, which people usually call doing a deal with the devil. This is a very serious thing, and what I'm going to show you is that the negative path is not really it's not really a path of all fun and games. The negative path is a path of eternal suffering, eternal stress, eternal betrayal, eternal backstabbing. So eternal fighting and worrying and worrying about who is going to betray you next, who is going to backstab you next. You wake up and you're already assaulted by the feelings of, okay, today I need to fight, otherwise someone's going to betray me. And that's the nature of the negative path. It's a torment. So the negative path itself is hell. The negative path itself is hell. You don't even need to, in inverted commas, go to hell after you have made the choice for the negative path. The path itself is hellish. This is what I'm going to show you guys here today with three examples. And I'm going to use the examples. For the first two examples, you will be able to do your own research. The third example is a personal example that is going to add some color, some flavor to these analysis, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to get the message. So the first example is of that of a person that has chosen the negative path and continues to pursue that path. It's this gentleman that you are watching right there on the screen. His name is Michael Prince, aka James Casbolt. The second example is the example of a person that has chosen the negative path but now is trying to get out of it. And that is the case of a British woman called Sarah Stanger. That's going to be our next example. And the final path is the final example is that of a group of young girls that chose the negative path by mistake, thinking that it was going to be fun and games, and the result was really very dire. And that's the personal path, the one that you're not going to find on the internet. and I'm going to describe it to you here on this video. So let me start with case 1, which is Michael Prince. So this man, he's a British man. He's a so-called super soldier, and let me give you a bit of a background if you haven't already done your research on Michael Prince or James Casbolt. He goes by 2 names. If you haven't already done your research on that, I'm going to give you the gist of what he is and what he has done. And not everything that he says can be verified. Actually, nothing that he says can be verified. A lot of what he says could very well be lies. But the reason why I take him seriously, at least in, let's say, 60% of what he says, is that everything that he says is consistent with hundreds of other testimonies about the behavior of the negative path, about what happens on the negative path, about what the shenanigans that take place on the negative path, the shenanigans that take place with the deep state, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and all of that stuff. So what he's saying may be out there, but the core of what he's saying is absolutely consistent with hundreds, if not thousands, of other testimonies, and also materials such as even the Christian Bible as well, and esoteric material, theosophical material, the law of one, spiritism, and all of that stuff. So this is why I take what he says relatively seriously, because it's consistent. So I have been there, done the research, been there, done that, the research that is, and I know that what he says, even if he has made up a few of the details, but it actually makes quite a lot of sense, and it's consistent with the negative path. So let me just give you a bit of a background on who he is. He was an orphan born in England. He was taken to Canada by the deep state. So apparently he was someone that was already almost like genetically engineered or genetically marked, because he does have genes that are related to the to reptilians. Maybe he's a bit of a hybrid in that sense, but since the beginning there was something special genetically about him, and he was taken to this facility in Canada. I think it's called Nelson. It's a city in Canada called Nelson. There was a military facility there, and back there he was, as it is the custom in the deep state, in the Illuminati, he was abused as a child. He was raped, because that's the way that the deep state, the negative path, try to use to make you to awaken your kundalini is through rape, through child rape, and they have. And so there's a group of kids. So from that he was rescued. He went back to the UK, and then he went into the military. He became an assassin because he was already connected with the Illuminati and the several different groups that make up what we call the Illuminati. He ended up working in the US. He was transferred, or it was a bit of an Illuminati transfer to the US military. But he was also, at some stage, he was also an assassin for Opus Dei, which is a religious assassin order. You know, I know that's a bit of an oxymoron, religious assassins, but yes, those things do exist. You know, nothing that comes out of the Vatican amazes me anymore. So these guys are Vatican assassins, and he did a lot of killings, etc. And now he has come out to the public with his story, and his argument is that now the Illuminati want him to be the mouthpiece for what happens, because the Illuminati, as we know, the Illuminati are in a state of perpetual war, and there are several reasons why the Illuminati would want to disclose things. One of the reasons is that maybe a certain faction wants to disclose information, because then they can control the narrative. You know, just in the same way that if you're fighting with your... Remember when you were a kid that you were fighting with your brother, and when your mother got home, then you had to be the first one to tell her about the fight, because this way she will hear your narrative first, so she will believe you and she won't believe your brother. So you hijack the narrative by being the first one to tell. So maybe this is what this particular faction of the Illuminati that he belongs to wants to do, is to tell their story first, and because then everything else will have less credibility. That's one possibility. So there are several possibilities. So this guy now wants to, so he's spilling the beans, etc., but he has no regrets about being an assassin. He says that that's what he wants to do, and he doesn't want to stop being that. He is a super soldier. He has implants and all sorts of technology in his body, according to himself. There's no way to verify that. Some of his stories are way out there, but you know, let's not go to that stage. But what happens is that if you look at him on the screen, and if you actually go to the Basis project, so this particular video that you're watching was published by Miles Johnston in 2014, and you can just Google, or not Google, but you can search on YouTube Michael Prince Basis project, and you will find the link to this video, and you see that the whole presentation, he is behaving really very strangely. He is behaving as someone that has post-traumatic stress disorder. So this is the hell, the mental hell in which these Illuminati people live their lives. It's a mental hell. It's constant conflict. It's eternal warfare. It's a stated objective of the Illuminati, at least the Nazi faction of the Illuminati, is to reach a state of permanent warfare, just so they can kill everybody else and take resources. And part of the satanic rituals that they do is to try and prolong their lives, because the Illuminati, the Luciferian Illuminati, they don't believe, or they don't want to progress spiritually. The Illuminati, everything that they want to do is about here and now. It's about the flesh. It's about being rich. It's about having more material wealth, more money, more estates, more power, more weapons, etc. So they don't care about spiritual life. They want to preserve their lives, and this is where the agenda of transhumanism that is being pushed forward by a lot of people in the Silicon Valley that comes along, because they're playing to the Illuminati tune. And but these guys, they live in a state of constant desperation, constant warfare. And it's just a horrible way to live. So just the way that you're looking at him right now, you see that he's completely disturbed. He is probably even mind controlled as he's doing this presentation, and it's a horrible state. I do not understand why someone would choose the negative path in order to become a slave, a mind controlled slave. So someone would go for the negative path, knowing that they are going to be sodomized, they're going to be tortured, they're going to be they're going to have to take part in ceremonial killings, and they're going to have to face injury at the hands of their handlers, etc. So it's too much suffering. Even so, you might imagine that the negative path would bring karmic consequences to you once you reach the astral, once you leave this body. What I am trying to tell you is that no, the negative path, the suffering in the negative path begins much sooner than the death of your physical vessel. The suffering in the negative path is absolutely constant and non-stop, even if you are still quote-unquote alive. So this is that's the first case. The second case is this British woman. Her name is Sarah Stanger. So I'm also taking the video from the Basis Project, from Miles Johnson's Basis Project. So again, I'm thanking him for that. And Sarah is a slightly different subject to James Casbolt or Michael Prince. Sarah was, so she wants to be a quote-unquote normal person. So basically she wants out. So I'm going to give you a bit of the background of her story. So she is also English. She was also orphan in the same way as Michael Casbolt. She was taken also to military bases for satanic ritual abuse and the development of psychic abilities through the early enforced raising of Kundalini, as these sickos try to do to their slaves. So she has developed all of these things, all of these abilities. So she's a psychic, and she's a very powerful psychic. But when she grew up, she decided to get out. So she decided to start trying to take a normal life. And since she made that decision, she has been harassed, she has been attacked, she has been kidnapped, she has been stalked, she has been, her life has been made a hell because of all of the entities, all of the negative entities that consider her one of them. So I think that in this particular case, Sarah Stanger used to be a black witch in previous incarnations, so she has developed lots of energetic and karmic links with demonic entities. And when you try to stop it, you will be faced with a very difficult situation, because the negative path considers you as one of their slaves. When you try to stop it, and when you say, okay, I want peace, I want to have a life that is full of love and compassion, and I don't want to be in the negative path anymore. When you do this, the negative path, or the people, the demonic entities, incarnated and otherwise, in the negative path, they consider you an asset, they consider you an animal, they consider you as their property. So basically, they are losing their property. If you move to the positive side, to the positive path, they are going to be losing their property, and they are not going to let that happen. So they're going to come after you. They're going to send demonic entities to your home, to materialize in your home and create a living hell for you. They're going to kidnap you physically, take you to military installations, to be tortured, and all of that stuff. They're going to stalk you in your dreams. They're going to make you lose your job. They're going to make you lose your partner. They're going to use gaslighting, which is a torture technique to make someone insane. And all of these things have happened to Sarah Stanger, and listening to her testimony is heartbreaking. If you do your you have to be a little bit strong to listen to her testimony, because it's not easy to go through. But if you are so inclined, you can do a YouTube search for Sarah Stanger Basis Project, and you're going to see not only the interviews that she has given, but also the vlogs that she has, and you're going to be amazed at how much this lady is suffering, just because at some stage in a distant path she made the wrong decision to go into the black magician path, and now she wants out, but now she is karmically linked and energetically linked with demonic entities and the lower astral, and these guys are going to come and claim their pound of flesh, so to speak, and metaphorically speaking, but sometimes not so much metaphorically speaking. Sometimes it's a real claim for flesh, because these guys are absolutely sick. That's the nature of the negative path. And I do believe that Sarah Stanger is going to make it. I do believe that she will be free from the negative path at some stage. She will be free from demonic entities at some stage. But it's going to take a while. It's going to take effort. It's going to take persistence. It's going to take prayer. It's going to take faith. And it's going to take meditation. If she commits to all of these things, and if she commits to charity and to love and compassion in her life, she will eventually make it. And this is the good news, because the negative path, the demonic side, they do have power. If you give them power of your life, they will try to make you their slave. They never lose. If you make a deal with the devil will win. There's no way that you can win. There's no way that you can get what you want. It's the devil that will get what he wants or it wants. But when you try to get out, they will claim that they have a contract with you, and you're locked in, and you're going to have to bend over backwards and do a lot of work, do a lot of penance in order to get out. But it is possible. It is possible to get out. So in the case of James Casbolt, he has no regrets. He wants to continue as a super soldier. He wants to continue to walk the dark path. But Sarah Stanger is different. She's trying to get out, and she's suffering enormously for it. Okay, so now let's go to example 3, the negative path 3, which is a negative path just by being just for a bit of a laugh. So the negative path as a mistake. So this is so it's not a personal case, because it didn't happen to me, but it happened at a spiritist center that I attend when I go to Brazil. It's not often, but I do go and attend sometimes, and this is a case that is common there. And basically what happened was, this is the case about 2 girls that decided, they were bored one day, and they decided to have a bit of fun, I think, in their mind. So what the images that you're watching right there are not the images related to this case. These are images of people doing the work that is known as disobsession, which is when mediums they do an aura link with demonic entities, and this obsessor, this person that is talking, that you can see right there in the image, they talk to these demonic entities and try to, I wouldn't say convert the demonic entity or the suffering entity, but I would say try to talk this entity into a change of heart, into seeing that not all is lost and there is hope if people want to reform themselves. And even non-incarnated entities can still reform themselves. So this is what these people are doing there. So I just got this footage of the internet. This is not the center that I visit. It's just as an example. I'm just going to use this image in particular for this particular case 3, as background. So basically, these two girls, they were at home bored, and they decided to have fun. So they went to a website, have fun in inverted commas. So they went to a website where they saw a mantra. A mantra is a set of words or a set of sounds that you repeat, and these sounds, they have some astral, energetic or magnetic power to them. So they decided to do this. So they say, okay, so let's go to this website and let's get this esoteric mantra, and let's keep repeating this mantra over and over again. I don't know what the mantra is, and to be honest with you, even if I knew it, I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't tell it here, because there are some positive mantras such as Om and all of those things, or even the mantras that are associated with the art of Reiki, you know, Chokurei, Honshaze Shonen, and Seiheki, and all of those things. That I am a Reiki master. So these are positive mantras. They invoke positive mental and astral energies and links. But there are also negative mantras. You can through mantraing, or through repeating mantras, you can open portals to very nasty places. And it turns out that this is what happened. So the mantra that these girls bumped into and they started repeating was the astral hell version of a clickbait. So for example, do you know the clickbait where they put something on a nice image and then you click and it's something completely different? Well, this is what happened to these girls. They clicked on something. The mantra was in fact an infernal mantra. It was opening an astral portal to a demonic entity. So a few demonic entities came through this portal, and they had possession over these two girls, because that was what the mantra was allowing. So the mantra was an interdimensional key, so to speak, and these girls became what is usually known as demon possessed. But in fact, it's not really demon possession. It's a when you open your chakras, your energy chakras, to the control of an entity that comes from the lower astral. And these entities, of course, are very nasty. And these girls, basically, they had to be in the old tradition, or in the old nomenclature, you would say these girls had to undergo an exorcism. And this happened at the center that I attend and I help sometimes back in Brazil. It was very nasty. It was an amazing piece of work. I wasn't involved with this piece of work, this piece of disobsession at this particular time, but I heard from other workers that were there that it was absolutely horrible. It was a very difficult work to close the portal and to disconnect these demonic entities from these two girls, because they, by playing with what they didn't know, they ended up giving permission. That's what the mantra was. It was a permission. It was something like, come possess me, so to speak. And that's what happened. That's what happened. So these girls were in a very, very bad state. They were doing things like foaming on the mouth and all of those things that you see in horror movies. That stuff is real. That stuff is real. So that's pretty much it. So I hope that this video was useful for you. The negative path, even though you see a lot of Illuminati artists, flashing dollar bills on the screen and their limousines and their private jets and all of that stuff, and that may give you an impression that the negative path is all fun and games, blah blah blah. It's not. The negative path is a lot of suffering. The negative path is suffering that is beyond your comprehension. So I just wanted to close this video with a big thank you. If you enjoyed this video, I will ask you to please share, like and subscribe. Beyond sorrow there is happiness, beyond both there is peace. Thank you very much. See you next time.